Welcome, everybody, to episode 29 of the Canuckleheads podcast. My name's Justin. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Wes. I don't know a single Canuck that wore number 29.
Me neither.
All right. Let's talk about some hockey here. We have the Dallas Stars in the house in Vancouver, April 18th, 2022. Thatcher Demko and Jake Ottinger get the start. Alex Chason was a late scratch in this one. Nick Batin was in for him. It was confirmed about 5 minutes into the first that Chason had a non-COVID illness.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Besser and Matthew Highmore back from injury in this one, so good to see both those guys back.
Which, with Beaufort out, we needed Best back.
Yeah. So in the first period, goal by Connor Garland, who, bit of a heater since scoring that first goal in 20 games there.
A little bit of a turnaround.
This was a one-timer from Podkolzin and OEL. Great shift from the Miller-Garland-Podkolzin line. Miller was screening Ottinger in front. There was so much, this was not a cannon of a one-timer. Nope. It was relatively slow and just
perfectly placed.
Ottinger couldn't see it at all. Garland had so much room, 5-hole, and
Millsy screening out front. Loved that little leg lift too, just to not block a shot or anything. It was actually the perfect play. I like that little give and go from Podkolzin there. It was unreal.
Then we had another goal from Elias Pettersson. He had the puck at the side of the net, got knocked down. Sheldon Dries picked up the puck behind the net, threw it to Petey, who was still at the side, got up and just kind of tucked it past Ottinger's pad.
And it was sick too because I don't even know if it was the hit that got laid on Dries, why it chipped out to Petey like that. I don't know if it was intentional at the same time as he took the hit, but literally just goes off Petey's skate, tucks it in. Unreal goal.
Yeah, not Petey's prettiest goal by any means, but it was definitely a good one.
That was a little Brock Besser-esque there, standing around the net and getting greasy ones.
So this was 2-1 Vancouver after the first. During the first intermission, I wanted to bring this up specifically for you. Elliot Friedman says the Canucks have the best goal song in the league.
I've seen that.
I kind of low-key agree with him. I love it.
I was triggered. I frickin' don't like it at all. And it's funny because it kind of grows on you over time a little bit. But I was like, he's way off on that. Just my opinion. I think there's even if they did the oop, there it is, just because the Bruce thing. But that would get old quick if they're doing the chant plus the goal song. So I get it.
I like it. It gets stuck in my head too. Every time they score, I want to keep hearing it, and then for the next 3 days, I'm singing it to myself.
It's sweet though that a lot of people like it. I'm glad that a lot of people like it.
It's unique. Yeah. It is kind of different. It's a bit slower, but it works for me for whatever
reason. And the crowd loves it. So,
yeah. So in the second period, goal from Brock Besser on a 2-on-1 with Petey. This was nice. This was the Brock Besser you want to see.
Yep.
Shot it from about the middle of the circle and just right past Ottinger. This was a classic Brock Besser goal.
And what I love from Petey right here is usually let's say he's got anyone else there, even probably Connor Garland, he's probably looking him off and shooting that puck. He had a defender stretching out right in the middle of them. He seen it was Besser and no, don't mess with Petey and Bess. We're bringing it back. He was not shooting that puck. Fed it to Bess. Gave him a beautiful one-timer, and I was so happy to see it.
And it worked out so well, too, because it was Petey passed from his forehand to Besser's forehand just because it's a lefty and a righty, so it just...
And for the goalie, you have to respect Petey's shot, so you can't swing across too fast. It was just perfect.
Yeah. Then we had a goal by Jason Dickinson, a former Dallas Star, in the revenge game.
And this is the best game I've seen him play in a while, obviously because it's against his former team, but I was super impressed with his game in this.
Well, and getting a chance to play with Petey and Besser, right? Those are some pretty decent.
They'll make you look good,
He tipped in a Brock Besser shot. Pass, because this was not a shot. No. Besser kind of faked the one-timer from the points. Yeah. But it was a clear pass right on Dickinson's tape, and this was a nice goal. Honestly,
kudos from Dickinson, because Brock didn't lay that up at all. He shot it pretty hard, and Dickinson handled it perfectly. And that takes some skill, so good on you, Dickinson.
Also, it was a monster shift by Connor Garland, too. Just skating circles in the offensive zone with the puck, keeping it at the blue line with one hand. So Connor Garland, I like this guy.
Me too.
I think him and Boudreaux might have had a little chat here. Yeah. Because we heard Boudreaux say before he'll just spin and spin and spin and not do anything with the puck. Yeah. Now he's kind of
making something happen.
He's still spinning, but the puck is going to the net or it's going to an open guy. Yep. Then he's kind of picking his spots where he holds onto it forever, which he can do. Yeah. And when you're putting up numbers, it's fine. We talked about this. If JT Miller does stuff like this, no one cares because he's got 93 points or whatever. So when Connor Garland is going, he's just a machine.
Yep, and we need him.
Yeah. Then we had a scrap. Luke Shen, Jamie Benn. Shen responds to Ben throwing a big hit at Quinn Hughes.
And kind of slamming him on the ice.
Yeah, it was a hard hit.
Yeah.
And that's a big size difference between those two guys.
Yep.
Height-wise and weight-wise.
Yep.
In my notes, I just have fuck yeah, Shen.
Yeah, and like I was saying to Justin before we started the pod, like usually Shenner, he'll throw a couple shots, but he's more or less just trying to throw you to the ice and get the dub.
Yeah.
Here, he made it...
This was a statement.
Exactly. Like, you're not touching our star players like that, especially my defensive partner. And pumped Ben. I can't remember the last time I seen Ben get rocked in a fight.
Yeah.
He got his bell rung with one of those shots.
Yeah.
And then thrown to the ice. Good on you, Luke Shen. Good old Saskatchewan boy.
Yeah. So this was 4-2 Vancouver after the second. In the third, we had a goal from Vasily Podkolzin. Man is bringing it.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Heating up.
This was a bad goal
Yeah.
for Scott Wedgwood, who
Wedgwood.
Yeah, they switched at the third here. Just beat him under the blocker. Just kind of a softie, like a good for Podkolzin for just getting the puck on the net and like picking his spot, but should not have been a goal. But still,
glad to see him tuck one.
Yeah, and this was also assisted by Quinn Hughes, who's just skated the puck end to end, made a backhand chip past the pods, and just Quinn Hughes doing what Quinn Hughes does.
Yeah.
Then we had a goal by Elias Pettersson, empty netter. Shoots it through two stars who were trying to block the nets. In my notes here, I have nobody stops Deaky Pete, especially not goalies. Especially not goalies.
And like we were saying too, like it's funny because Dickinson throws it on net, tries to get that second goal, misses wide. Besser from his old empty net spot misses again. Then Petey from way out downtown.
Third time's a charm.
You put it through two guys, just like, I'm not missing an empty net.
Yeah. So this was a 6-2 win for the Canucks. This was a big win because Dallas is still ahead of Vancouver in the standings.
We can't let them get points.
Yeah,
Didn't take it to overtime.
Yeah, beat them in regulation, beat them clean, and for the slim playoff hopes that we had, this was a big win.
Yep.
But let's get to the next game here. This was the next night. Ottawa in the house. April 19th, 2022. Yaroslav Halak and Gustafsson get the start. This was Quinn Hughes' 200th career game. So congrats to you, Quinn. Mm-hmm. Crazy how fast time goes by.
Yep. Does not feel like he's been around that long yet.
Like I remember that his first 5 games there when they had that overtime game and it was Hughes, Petey, and Besser.
Like the end of the season.
In overtime, right? And you're like, this is the future right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's first 200 games and a lot more to come from this guy.
Flies by.
In the first, we had a goal on the power play from JT Miller with his 30th of the year. Snipe from the top of the circle, wins the faceoff clean, scores a goal, just like Bo Horvat a couple weeks ago. Yep. So congrats to Miller on his first 30 goal season. Mm-hmm. And we had a goal from Brock Besser, who ripped it top corner just as the Canucks power play expired. So this was just an even strength goal, but this was a nice shot. This had force, and it was like pinpoint accurate top corner.
It was vintage Brock Besser.
Yeah. 2-0 Vancouver after 1. In the second, Thatcher Demko starts. There was a weird scramble towards the end of the first where we're still not sure what exactly happened to Yaro Halak. He got slashed or hit, like his hand. He was shaking it.
I don't know if someone stepped on it or what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
He shook it out hardcore and then checked his hand and finished out the period.
Yeah,
too.
It was weird. When he finished the period, I thought maybe he just got a stinger or something. And it's like, okay, or maybe he thought he got cut. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Demko in for the second.
Yeah.
This was 2-1 Vancouver after 2, and the Canucks, I feel like in large dominated this second period. I think like for 15 minutes it felt like they had the puck in the offensive zone. And
the ice was tilted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the third, we had a goal from Travis Dermott, his first as a Canuck. Great pass behind the net by Brock Besser, having himself a bit of a week.
Yeah.
That's
love to see it.
Maybe a bit of foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
This was 3-3 after 3 periods. Again, like it felt like the Canucks were controlling the third. They let in a couple goals and Ottawa got the lead, but then they tied it up. But it just felt like Vancouver had all the momentum in this game.
Yeah.
Nothing happened in overtime, and then 4-3 shootout loss for the Canucks here. Adam Gaudette with the game winner dagger.
A massive mistake by Boudreau in this shootout. To put Patanin before you put Podkolzin in, to me, was a huge mistake.
Or Hughes or OEL,
Hughes.
right? Like
exactly. We have other guys to go to. And I get it. He's a young kid. You kind of want to give him some experience, but that was not the spot to do it. We need points here. Patan was not the guy to seal the deal. As soon as I seen Gaudette was the next guy to grab the puck, I was like, great.
Yeah, I was like, we could have a brick wall, post to post, that puck going in.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So when I saw Patan, I was like, okay, maybe he's great in the AHL.
Maybe. Yeah.
He's 1 for 11 in the AHL.
Not even good.
Not even good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's an AHL offensive guy. So I see your hunch there, but Podkolzin's an NHL offensive guy.
Yeah, no, it was not the spot for him.
On a heater.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes is like your most dynamic skater.
Yeah.
And OEL's been pretty decent at the shootout too. Like another Swedish defenseman who used to wear 23 for the Canucks.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I thought that was a huge mistake. I felt like that was definitely a 2-point game for us, and to only come out with 1 point when I feel like we dominated the majority of the game, it really sucked.
Yeah.
And I was chirping Lane's grandpa before the game because he's a huge Sens fan, and I'm like, oh, we're going to bury you. It looked like we were going to bury them, so to lose like that, and then he has one up on me next time I see him, it's not a good look, you know what I mean? So
yeah, this definitely should have been a whooping by the Canucks, but
they hung in there.
Like, yeah, Gustafsson was good, and this is one of the games where when you look at the remainder, you had to win this one. They had room for one loss, I think, to kind of stumble. It was not against Ottawa.
No.
You can save that one for Minnesota. You can save it for Calgary.
That's a team we have to beat.
Yeah. The Senators, you need 2 points from. I don't care if they're overtime, because it's the East Coast. Who cares? Yeah. You needed that second point.
Yeah.
And it did not happen for us.
No.
All right, so the next game we'll go over is Vancouver at Minnesota, April 21st, 2022. Demko and Talbot start. Halak was out. We recalled Spencer Martin. I believe he's an emergency recall.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, it's pretty doubtful that Halak is back to start the year. To end the year. Probably done for the season.
Pretty much done as a Canuck, probably.
Yeah. Which we'll get to later because we got some things to talk about.
Yeah.
Alex Chason back in the lineup. Nick Patan scratched for him. Yeah. In the first, Brad Richardson gets hit with a high stick from Kirill Kaprizov. Goes to the dressing room towards the end of the first. This busted his nose. This was gross looking.
Yeah, it looked like, I didn't know if, because it was kind of a slashing motion with the stick, so I didn't know if he had a gash across his face or what, but then when I saw the amount of blood, I was like, he broke his nose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was confirmed afterwards. Came back. And when it happened, when he left, I was like, this might be the end of Brad Richardson's career, right? He's like 37, 38, put on waivers by the Flames. That's how we picked him up.
Yeah.
But, I like that he came back. I think he would have done this regardless of his age, but I also think that he's like, I'm not going out on an injury if this is the end of the line for him. He's going to come back and play. So Brad Richardson's the warrior. Yeah,
he's an absolutely tough guy, and I thought if it's like a huge gash, he doesn't come back, but once I thought it was the broken nose, I was like, oh, there's no way he misses the second and third period. Sure enough, the camera pans onto him on the bench in the second. I was like, what a tough warrior.
Just throw the cage on, finish out the year.
And didn't even throw the cage on. Just straight visor.
I wonder if we'll see it in this game now that they know, right? Maybe. I think they were just trying to stop the bleeding and get him back out there.
Yeah. Might have to straighten her up a little bit. But.
Actually, he did an interview the other day, and he said that he had surgery done to fix an old broken nose 2 years ago. So
now she's gone
probably
again.
Gonna have to get it done again. So in the second period here, we had an offensive explosion. Also, Brad Richardson was back to start the second. Mm-hmm. We had a goal by Deaky Pete, Elias Pettersson, with his 30th of the year, as the snipe from the slot on a great pass from Garland. 30 seconds after the Wild had opened the scoring.
Yep.
And we had a goal by Matthew Highmore, who goes stick side on a partial breakaway after Jarrett Spurgeon mishandles the puck. Jarrett Spurgeon, one of Wes's favorite players. Just a nice shot from Highmore, who was in all alone. Caught Talbot off guard, I imagine. Yep. So.
And it's funny because most of the time he gets those little breakouts and then he whiffs and misses the net. So it's nice to see him pot one. He's been working extremely hard in these games since he came back. And you just love to see a guy get rewarded when he works his ass off.
Yeah. And this was a short while after Minnesota went up 2-1. So Canucks respond again. And then we had another goal by Elias Pettersson, who chipped it over Talbot after Garland threw the puck on net. Just Petey's been absolutely dominant in the second half. We were texting about this. He's got a career high in goals, and you can basically wipe out the first 35 games of his season.
Like, it's almost like they don't even exist. It's so weird because, like, Miller's been buzzing the whole season. Yep. He has 30.
Yeah.
Petey has more goals than him, and he's only been here for half the season pretty much. It's like, what the hell, man? This guy is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Next season, we can expect some big things. Like, obviously, in our goal prediction, we're both off because we didn't expect him to not show up for the first half of the season.
I think I said 30 for Petey.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my god, well, you nailed it.
I think you said 35.
Oh, did I? Okay,
I think so.
I thought I gave him a little higher than that. I remember some of them were high. Like, Best was like 40. That ain't coming close. He's at like 20 maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, we should talk about that now. I figure what we'll do is we'll add up the total.
And see the total goals.
We'll see who's
That's
off.
actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Not your fault, just because this team had such a shitty first half.
And I was so excited, and it's so funny now that, like, I think about the Dean man goal numbers, too. I'm just like, oh my god, I was just horrendously off.
Well, I think we both had Quinn Hughes having 10 plus. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, towards the end, like, by the end of the season, Petey's going to have a career high in points, already has a career high in goals. Mm-hmm. And you can take away the first 35 games. Like,
it's nuts.
The pace he is at right now, every game it's like 2 goals and an assist, or an assist and 2 goals, and it's like every 3 games he's having a 4-point night. I
really liked Boudreau's comments the other night, just saying, like, Elias Pettersson is a big game player, and he is.
We saw it in the bubble too. Like, I think it was like 19 points in 18 games or something like that.
Those are the types of guys we need. Like Bo Horvat, he's a big game player. Like, these guys elevate their game when it gets close to the playoffs / in the playoffs. So we need to be a playoff team going forward.
Yeah. And then we had a scrap. Luke Shen, Nick Delorier. Good scrap by Shen. Delorier's a big, tough boy, too. So.
Yeah, and off of a big Shen hit there, Delorier kind of responding, helping his teammate out. So I was glad that Shenner stepped up and said, hey, I'm willing to make those hits. I'm also willing to take the fights.
Yeah.
So
this was 3-3 after 2. And then it was all downhill in the third. This was a 6-3 loss for the Canucks. This is probably the season. Like, I know we talked about this a couple episodes ago, too, where we were like, it's done. There's no
odds
playoffs.
Are against us.
But they went on kind of this miracle run again, and like
another 6-gamer.
I still don't want to count this team out, but it just felt like this was it. Like,
and it's funny because Dallas keeps losing, so it's like, man, just Dallas and Vegas need to just fall off, and we need to go on another 4-gamer here, and
Dallas,
we'll see
Vegas,
where we're
and
at.
LA, we need to lose. We need them to lose a lot, and the Canucks, got to win out. There's no. Even then, it's gonna be hard if they win out, right? Like the other teams can play average hockey. I think if they each win 2 games, that's kind of it.
It's sealed. 100%. And it's funny, Garland said in the press conference, like, we made it hard on ourselves here. You know what I mean? We didn't leave ourselves any room for points to spare. Like, next season, I think you see a big difference in the way we start the season. Yeah.
And let's just talk about Demko here, because it looks like he had a bad game. But you got to remember, there's been 3 games in a short span where he hasn't had a night off where he was supposed to, right? Yeah. Twice Halak uphold. He got hurt the other game, so it's not really his fault. But you got to go into next season with Spencer Martin and
Demko
and have some reliable goaltending.
Yeah, like, exactly.
If your backup is starting, let him start, because it does look like Demko's fatigued.
Yeah.
You talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's the most games he's ever played in a season, and it looks like it. Like, he hasn't been bad, but he's not that start of the season Demko where you're like, nobody can score a goal on this guy.
Yeah, there's some goals getting through where it's like, he, like, prime Demko when he's at full form could have stopped that, but I mean, some nights you can't really blame him, you know what I mean? He's been unreal for 95% of the games he's played this season. So.
Like, definitely against Vegas, you want him to stop that Shea Theodore tying goal. There's a couple here that you want him to stop, but I'm not blaming him, because there's definitely a lot of rest he's missed out on because of our backup goaltending. So
one thing that I think he could work on a little bit, and Demko, there's not many holes in his game, but like, when guys get on breakaways, it's not very often you see him shut him down.
Yeah.
Which I think that's something he'll work on in the future, just like really coming out to challenge guys and not giving them much to shoot at. Yeah. It seems like if a guy gets on a breakaway, it's not a good look for us, because most of the time they're scoring.
Especially shorthanded too.
Yeah, like that Hintz goal, right?
Those
like,
are daggers.
When he starts skating away from Petey, I'm like, fuck, this is a goal. And sure enough, boom.
It's weird too. I think you and I are on the same page where you can just tell. Like, the second you see a play breakdown, you're just like, this is a goal. Like, and which sucks. Like, I think that's part of the Canucks pessimism, but whatever.
Yeah.
Also, we'll mention too, Quinn Hughes in the game against Ottawa ties Dennis Kern's single season assist record with his 55th assist of the year. Quinn Hughes is going to break that record. Yeah. 4 games to go, he's going to get an assist somewhere.
Yep, 100%.
Closing in on the the single season points record by a D-man too, which I believe was 63.
Yeah.
So,
and it's coming, man. He has a 7-year contract. He's gonna break every Canucks defenseman record in history.
By the time it's all said and done, Quinn Hughes is gonna be
the greatest Vancouver Canucks defenseman.
Yeah, all over the right. Maybe even plus minus 2 the way he's been playing this year.
Yeah,
so
I agree. And okay, now that you just talked about plus minus, I'm gonna hit you with a little trivia question here.
All right.
Who on the Vancouver Canucks has the best plus minus?
It's either Tyler Myers or Luke Schenn.
I'm shocked that you know that. It's Tyler Myers.
Plus 13?
Well, yeah, when I seen that, I was like, how? But maybe because he's playing with OEL, I have no clue how he got there. But it seems like maybe just because I'm watching him so much, I see some breakdowns. And when he's in our corner, throwing it out in front of our net, just crazy stuff happens with him sometimes. But you think about it, when we had some D-men out, he was playing 25 minutes a night and pretty shut down minutes.
He does make... He's a lot like Jacob Markstrom when he first came to the Canucks, right? Where he has just that one mistake a game. Yeah. Where you're like, God, if he can clean that up, he'd be so much better. Markstrom did. Tyler Myers is 31. He's not improving. He is what he is. So he just... That one loud mistake where you're like, that you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're an NHL defenseman.
Yeah. Who makes $6 million. And this is the thing too about him. It's maybe if he made 5 or 4.5, we don't even talk about his mistakes.
Yeah.
Because he's totally worth that. But at $6 million, you see mistakes like that.
Yeah.
It's it makes it so much worse.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to talk about too, now that we think the season might be kind of done, is the blue line. How do you revamp that, right? Because you got, Hughes is coming back, OEL's coming back. Yeah. I want Dermott in there.
Me too. I love Dermott.
I'm okay bringing Brad Hunt back, but he's your 7th defenseman. He's not an everyday guy.
And even Huntsy, he's at the tail end here. We might have to get rid of him and pick up some fresh blood. Even if Rathbone comes and steals his spot,
I wouldn't mind Rathbone.
Totally okay with that.
So you don't have a whole lot of room to really improve there, right? Shen's coming back. Myers is coming back.
I did hear kind of an interesting stat on the broadcast the other night when we were playing. They did say that we have I can't remember if it's the 15th or I can't remember the exact number, so don't quote me on it, but we have a good decor. They were talking about our decor stats and stuff like that and how many chances we shut down, and it's true, man. Our blue line has improved significantly in the past couple years.
Yeah, defensively, yes. And I like where they are defensively.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest thing is I think you got to move Tyler Myers if you can. You gotta shed that contract and get in something better and cheaper if you can, which is hard to do, right? But
it's funny too because you think about his contract and there's not much time left on it. So there's teams like Arizona in rebuild phases that they're like, oh, we'll eat that up because we can just get rid of him after it's all said and done, right? So. That's what they did with the Louis Eriksson thing. They're just willing to eat it and move on. So we might be able to do something like that.
And I believe he has a no trade clause, but that is inactive in the last couple years of his deal. And I think Myers has 2 years left after this season. So
gotcha.
I don't think he's immovable. It will be difficult. But to me, that's the one piece. Maybe Luke Schenn, but I like what Luke Schenn brings.
I love Luke Schenn.
And you're not going to get more value for the price that Luke Schenn is at.
Yeah. I feel like he's one of our leaders on our team, low key. A lot of people might not think that, but in the dressing room, great guy to have around. Plus, he's willing to stick up for the boys. He leads by example. He doesn't make many mistakes out there. Yeah. His only mistake is his speed, which at the tail end of your career, you're not expected to be that fast.
And even then, maybe Luke Schenn gets burned. I remember 2 times in the last 20 games.
It's very rare.
Yeah, because he's so good positionally, and he knows what he is, right? Luke Schenn is not pinching in.
Trying to make offensive plays.
Yeah, he's not cutting towards in front of the net to score a goal. Yeah. Luke Schenn is staying at the blue line. When he sees a breakdown, he's like, I'm out of here. Yeah. And he's going to defend.
Exactly.
But just the blue line to me is the biggest thing where you got to find.
You could shuffle some pieces.
I like the thought of adding Rathbone, especially if he's ready and can provide a little bit of offense. I'm not expecting a 30-point season out of Rathbone his rookie year, but if he can add a little bit of speed and just that another breakout pass, right? Then you can have Hughes on your first pair, Dermott in your second, Rathbone on your third. you have good puck movers on all three of those.
Yep.
You're not putting a ton of pressure on Rathbone being like, here's a second pair of minutes or anything like that. No. You can give him a good defensive partner like Shen or maybe OEL or something like that, right?
So it won't be like Quinn Hughes, how we just threw him into the fire right away.
Yeah.
Rathbone's going to have time to build because we have core pieces like OEL and Dermott and Hughes. Like, we have guys to rely on to eat up those minutes, which is why I like Myers. He can eat up a 25-minute night if he has to and look pretty decent doing it. So I do knock on him a bit here and there, but I do like his game. He's come around.
Yeah, to me, he's just he makes too much money for what he provides, but he doesn't provide a ton of negative value, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because, like, at first they used to hate when he would trickle into the zone and try and beat Quinn Hughes and make plays. Him and Millsy, for some reason, they just find each other, man.
Yeah, it's weird, those two.
They're connected a little bit. They have some chemistry. Like, I think Millsy has a little bit of confidence when he sees Myers come into the zone because he's like, I know he's passing to me.
Yeah, or he's going to miss the net by 30 feet. One of the two.
But it is funny how he has showed other wrinkles to his game as well, and I've been pretty happy with him. Just makes a little too much money.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, I was going to mention this. I think Quinn Hughes in his rookie year, it maybe took him 20 games before he took over for Alex Edler on that first unit power play.
Which is kind of sad to see, because I liked Edler, and he was the main guy for so long, and then you see the young guy just steal his job. Just took it.
No, it took a little while.
He took his freaking job.
At two very ends of the spectrum, but also it was just time to switch it up, right? Like, you knew what Alex Edler was going to do.
With the old and with the new.
Yeah, Hughes provides just a different wrinkle. So.
And, like, just 10 times better skating and 10 times better passing and 10 times better keeping the puck in the O zone when it's...
Yeah, it does not fight the blue line like Alex Edler
No,
did.
man, and the puck will be coming out like shoulder height and Quinn will just snap it down, get it on the stick, pass it back. Like,
there's so many bad JT Miller passes that Quinn Hughes makes you forget about on the power play. So.
Yep, and with Edler there, we know those are coming out of the zone.
Yep, and you're resetting.
I hate to chirp Alex Edler here because he's like one of the best defensemen ever, but yeah.
All right, so into the last chunk of the podcast here. Just a little bit of news I have. April 17th, 2022, the WHL regular season ends. Canucks prospect Arshdeep Bains won the scoring title with 112 points. So that's exciting to see.
Yep.
I know he scored in their first playoff game last night, so we'll see how the season winds up for them. Hopefully he has a nice long playoff run and gets some good experience. Hoping to see him in Abbotsford next year and seeing what he can do.
Yep.
That's actually kind of it I have for news there.
More young guys coming through the pipes, so that's what you like to see.
Yeah. So let's go over our score predictions here. It is kind of, like we said, not looking great for the Canucks. Need a lot of help.
It's funny too because I think tonight's going to be our toughest game out of the rest of the stretch here.
Yeah.
But that Seattle game is kind of perfectly placed for us because that's a confidence booster of a game right there. We just destroy them 7-1 and then roll into these next two games where they're going to be tougher games. But
yeah, you got to hope for a win in Calgary. Again, this one doesn't matter. You can lose or win in overtime or a shootout. You just need the 2 points.
Yeah.
Need to beat Seattle. Then you have the LA Kings, who is another team you're chasing. That could be a big game.
To beat.
That one, we might miss most of it. We're going to Edmonton for the game.
Yeah, we'll be watching on the iPhone in the car on the way there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so next week's podcast will actually be in Edmonton after the game.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. In Saskatoon, it's the Comic Expo that weekend, so I'm a little bit pissed that I have to miss that, but we're going to see a Canucks game. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's go over our score predictions here. So we're in Calgary tonight, Saturday the 23rd. Oh,
it's a tough game, man.
4-3 win for the Vancouver Canucks.
I like that score prediction. I think it's a little bit of a higher scoring game. I think maybe let's go overtime win 5-4 Canucks.
Seattle?
Seattle's it's off with your heads, boys. You're not taking a W against us, especially when we need these 2 points. So I'm going to say maybe, I won't go quite so high this time because, well, who knows. Let's go 6-2 for the Vancouver Canucks on that one.
We'll go 6-3 for the
Canucks.
Canucks.
I like that.
Then LA, Thursday night. I'm going...
That's another game, man.
I'm going 4-2 for the Canucks.
I like that. Let's go 3-2 for the Vancouver Canucks. There's no way that they only score once, especially with Kopitar, man. He's one of those guys that heats up during the end of the season, so he's going to be out there hunting for a goal.
And then lastly, in Edmonton, the 29th, Friday night. What's your score prediction for that one, Wes?
Well, like we talked about already, we don't know if we'll see McDavid or Draisaitl because they're going to try and preserve. I'm going to assume
probably not because the Oilers locked up a playoff spot the other night.
So they want to preserve their guys for the playoffs, which totally makes sense. So I think that's a dub for us. They won't have their two best players. Obviously, they'll have some prospects that are trying to make a name for themselves, so it won't be a layup whatsoever.
It's not gonna be a pushover.
Yeah, but you might not even see Darnell Nurse. It could be a good night for us. Let's go, and with us in the building, good luck charm. Let's go 5-2 Vancouver Canucks.
I have a tough time with this because I have a very good record when I go to Canucks games.
You do.
I've been to 4 games in Vancouver and I've seen 3 shutouts.
Yep.
I've seen a Jacob Markstrom shutout, which at the time was very rare.
Yep.
Especially they got dominated by the Blackhawks on the Sedin jersey retirement night. I don't think I've ever seen the Canucks lose in person.
That's crazy.
I think I've only ever seen them get scored on once when I've been there, in a couple, 2 or 3 different games.
Yep.
I'm going to give this one 4-1 for the Vancouver Canucks.
Woo-wee. Let's go.
So we'll see. I actually get real nervous going to games because I've seen so many shutouts that I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to see them lose.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun time no matter what here.
Yeah.
And let's do our Canuck of the week here, Wes. For me, it's pretty easy. I don't know about you.
For me, it's not going to be it should be expected at this point. Everyone knows who my favorite player is. It's Brock Besser. And he came back off, and he's been having a rough season. Came back off his little shoulder injury. We don't have Bo Horvat, and you've seen him try to elevate his game. He's tried to be better. He's tried to shoot the puck more, which I love that out of him. I just love when I see him pumping his legs and shooting the puck, making hits. He's definitely trying to come around for the end of the season here and give a good effort. And, he's my Canuck of the week. He had 2 good goals.
Brock Besser is also my Canuck of the week.
Is it? Woo! Let's go. It could have been easily Petey. So and I saw you pulled out the Petey jersey, so I was like, oh, maybe he's going Petey. But
I feel like that first game back, you could see a different energy from Brock Besser. Yeah. You could feel that he was ready to just finish out the year strong. Mm-hmm. He was putting the rest of it behind him, and he had 2 really good games. He was good in Minnesota too. Just the results sucked.
And shitty for him, where he's at in his contract and stuff, to have a year like this, I'm sure it's frustrating.
Shitty for him, good for us.
But it's got to be frustrating for a player like him.
Yeah.
He's probably only going to sign a 3-year because he's like, I can show you that I'm better and then get a big one. But
I really don't know what he wants to do, whether it is a 1-year prove-it deal or if he wants to lock it up for 7 or something like that. But either way, that'll be something we'll talk about later on, when there's negotiations. But I really like Besser's game this week.
Yeah.
He does so many smart things that you don't notice. But when he doesn't score, you do get on him. And I think he gets on himself for that too.
He does.
That's what everybody expects out of Brock Besser is the goals.
Yeah.
He's more than that as a player, which is something that I want more Canucks fans to realize.
Yeah.
But when he is scoring, that is when you're like, Besser's the man.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, with Horvat out, it's not just Horvat. Our entire second line from last year is out, right?
Yeah.
Hoglander, Pearson, Horvat. That's a lot. And Besser stepped up.
Yeah.
Just like Miller has, just like Petey has, like Pods has. So it's good to see Besser pushing with the rest of the boys.
Exactly.
And I have a couple tweets of the week. This one is after the Dallas game from Harmondile at Harmondile2. Luke Shen is just a badass.
He is.
Absolutely is.
Yeah.
This one is from Leisure Suit Larionov. Elias Pettersson has set a new career high for goals after scoring just 6 times in his first 33 games. That's the kind of heater that he has been on this second half of the season.
I don't think there's a couple players in the league who have scored as many in this amount of games as him, but it's very few. If he can do this for even a little bit longer of a stretch next season, we're going to see a big season out of Elias Pettersson.
Yeah. Yeah, if he can show up, not even at this level, but at 80% of what he's doing now, he's going to have a monster year.
He could have a 90-point season next year. It's very doable.
It would not surprise me. He could score 40 goals next year. Yeah. This is one thing that if the season ends next Friday, or this Friday, I guess.
Yeah.
it gives you confidence being a Canucks fan going into the next year, right? He hopefully finishes out the whole year.
Yeah.
And is playing his best hockey.
Yeah.
Being absolutely dominant and a force and just ruthless.
Yeah.
And you just want to see that snowball into next year. Hit the ground running. There's not going to be as long as a layoff with injuries.
Yeah.
He can train.
And he can have a full training camp.
Yeah, have full training camp.
Yeah.
Get a full off season of working out and just continuing to get bigger and stronger. And
it was crazy, man. With the contract situation, it started to look like, oh, maybe we just fluffed one there. But you know the type of potential Petey has, so you don't really get too worried. But, I mean, it was a pretty long stretch of bad games.
Yeah.
And then to see him turn it around and be like, okay, we made the right choice. We know who this guy is.
Yeah, like,
it's just confidence builder for even management. Like,
yeah, for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too. Patrick Elvain said that a couple weeks ago that we don't have a superstar. And then Elias Pettersson has been like, fuck you, we don't. And just exploded.
Man, yeah. And it's funny that he would say something like that because...
I kind of think it might have been just to, like, let's get this guy going and see, right?
Maybe, but, like... Even Quinn Hughes, man, like, he's on a freaking rocket ship. We haven't seen the best Quinn Hughes yet, in my opinion. We're going to see some big goal seasons out of him, and we're going to see a lot higher assists, in my opinion, because he's just going to be feeding Petey pucks for the next 7 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, technically 6, because Petey's on a 6er, but...
Petey's on 3.
Oh my god, why did I think he was on a 6er?
Hughes is on a 6.
I thought Hughes is on the 7.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm all messed up right now.
But yeah, it's looking like that most likely... Next week will be our last podcast in every week. Yeah. We'll go over like the draft and free agency and things like that.
Yeah.
You'll see us like sporadically throughout the summer and stuff.
We'll do some stuff.
We have some things planned.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably next week will be the last one. Hopefully not. I want to keep going.
We'll keep doing stuff for sure.
It'll
just be a little bit more spread out, but until next season starts, obviously.
Well, I just mean hopefully we make the playoffs and we can get a couple more of these out. But yeah.
And honestly, like, who knows how far our minor team pushes into the playoffs? Like, we might be able to cover some of that. Like, we'll see what happens.
I am actually looking forward to watching some of the AHL playoff games too. So
yeah, especially if Rathbone's in there.
Yeah, I want to see Rathbone and Podkolzin, and I think
Yeah.
that team could do a lot. And Spencer Martin too, right? I want to check him out for next year.
Yep.
And we'll see, like, he might get another game too if the Canucks, hopefully not, but if they lose the next two, like, you might see Spencer Martin in Edmonton or something like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. YouTube, the Canuckleheads podcast, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever there's podcast, you can find us.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris, for editing.
Thank you, Chris.
And we will catch you next week from Edmonton.
Another one in the bag.